Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, Hurricane Beryl slamming into Texas right now. Breaking news. The Category 1 hurricane making landfall. The first hurricane to hit Texas in 3 years. This morning, officials concerned more people did not evacuate. We're there live, and Sam had the track and timing.
President Biden facing growing pressure from his own party. More top congressional Democrats say he should get out of the race after our exclusive interview with the president.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
Biden defiant on the campaign trail in battleground Pennsylvania. Even some allies say there are still questions that need to be answered.
Boeing pleading guilty to avoid a criminal trial stemming from 2 deadly crashes involving its 737 MAX jets. Now, what the families of those killed in crashes are asking.
The West on fire. The evacuation orders right now, with more than a dozen wildfires burning out of control, fueled by record heat. At least 25 states on heat alert this morning.
Holiday shark encounters.
All of a sudden I felt like my foot was just being stabbed on both sides, bottom and top.
4 people injured by the same shark in Texas. We hear from one of the victims who was dragged out of the water.
Rising from the ashes. An inside look at Notre Dame Cathedral as it nears completion, as Paris gets ready for the Olympics.
Game changer? The new study on drugs used for weight loss and how they can help reduce the risk for certain cancers.
And who run the court? The American tearing up Wimbledon. Emma Navarro preparing for her first Grand Slam quarterfinal. And on the other court,
Reese for a dagger! Angel Reese!
Rookie sensations, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark pulls it back!
Doing what no one else in the league has done before.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
This is Good Morning America, and we're following 2 big stories for you this morning, including the latest reaction to George's interview with President Biden.
Yeah, it's a big week on Capitol Hill right now. All eyes on the House and the Senate Democrats, what they're going to say about whether President Biden should stay in the race. We're going to talk to both Mary Bruce and Rachel Scott in just a moment.
But we begin with the breaking news. Hurricane Beryl slamming Texas, making landfall just a few hours ago near Matagorda, Texas. Our Sam Champion is standing by with the track and timing for us. But first, Victor Oquendo starts us off in Galveston. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Michael. Southeast Texas feeling the brunt of Hurricane Beryl now. The rain has been coming down for hours, and these winds are definitely getting stronger. Take a look up at the palm trees. You can see them getting whipped around. The strongest gust of wind that we felt here in Galveston, near 70 miles per hour. Landfall, Hurricane Beryl coming down in Matagorda, Texas, just south of us. We are on the so-called dirty side of the storm, the most dangerous part. And the biggest concern, that's the Gulf of Mexico behind us. 4 to 6 feet of storm surge possible. That is life-threatening.
This morning, Hurricane Beryl slamming into the Texas coast as a Category 1 hurricane, bringing damaging storm surge, hurricane-force winds, and the threat of tornadoes. Winds reaching more than 80 miles per hour, tearing through southeast Texas. In Sargent Beach, storm surge moving in.
Oh, wow.
Overtaking the area, high winds and waves hammering vehicles.
Oh!
In Freeport, Texas, numerous power flashes
Right there.
as winds began taking out power lines.
Oh!
This time-lapse video showing Houston's skyline disappearing as Beryl approached.
The next 24 hours are going to be rough for Harris County.
Cities preparing for the storm over the weekend, distributing sandbags and boarding up windows. It's the first hurricane to hit the state in 3 years, and officials are saying they're concerned more people did not evacuate. Beryl leaving a deadly path of destruction through the Caribbean, blowing roofs off buildings in Jamaica and uprooting gas stations in Mexico.
This storm has already left 9 deaths in its path through the Caribbean. We don't want number 10 to be in Texas.
It's going to be a long morning along the Texas Gulf Coast and into Houston, which we know floods easily. Residents being urged to stay indoors, stay off the streets until at least noon today. Robin?
All right, Victor, please take care out there. We're going to bring in Sam with the latest track and timing of the storm. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Robin. Good morning, everyone. So Beryl strengthens just before landfall, and I want to show you some of the video here. This is 80-mile-per-hour winds with a 92-mile-per-hour wind gust as this thing slams into the coast of Texas near Matagorda at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, even though the center of this hurricane is kind of on shore right now, we still have an 80-mile-per-hour Category 1 hurricane. It is holding strength even with the eye fully on land. So 66-mile-per-hour winds in Galveston. We have a tornado watch. We've had tornado warnings, a couple of them already this morning, and it's going to be a real problem with the landfalling storm to have the possibility of tornadoes. Now I want to talk a little bit about storm surge, because even though you think about storm surge as the storm moves on shore, I want to show you the wind direction here. And you can see the swirl right there. Now watch these winds pull on toward Galveston. Galveston Bay, Trinity River. This is one of the reasons and one of the ways Houston gets flooding is that water gets pushed all the way back up in here. Then you get up to 15 inches of rain in some parts of Texas through here. It cannot drain out. This storm is going deep into the country. We will show you where it goes and where all that rain goes in just a minute. George?
Okay, Sam, thank you. Returning now to the race for the White House, and President Biden struggling to save his candidacy over the weekend as senior Democratic lawmakers start calling for the president to step aside. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the story. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, the Biden campaign had hoped that the president's big interview with you would quiet concerns from the party. But this morning, the number of Democrats calling for the president to exit this race is growing. Even some of his allies are making it clear there are still questions he needs to answer this week, warning the clock is ticking. This morning, President Biden, defiant as ever, adamant he can survive this crisis.
Yes.
But a growing number in his own party aren't so certain. Sources tell ABC News that privately, at least 4 top House Democrats told colleagues on a call Sunday it's time for Biden to end his campaign. Congressman Jerry Nadler, Mark Takano, Joe Morell, and Adam Smith, joining 5 other Democrats who've made the same plea publicly. But sources say Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who convened Sunday's call, did not take a stance. With lawmakers back on the Hill this week, the coming days will be critical.
Hello, 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 hello.
The president trying to restore confidence, hitting the trail hard this weekend, eager to show voters he has what it takes to beat Donald Trump.
We're on the cusp of getting so much done. I really mean it.
Barnstorming battleground Pennsylvania, the president shaking hands and snapping selfies, rallying his supporters and leaning on allies to beat back concerns from fellow Democrats.
I'm about to point to the only person that's ever kicked Trump's in an election right now.
Don't let anybody talk about your age. You a young whippersnapper.
But even the president's allies are blunt that his interview with George did not put concerns to rest.
What I do think the president needs to decide is, can he put those concerns aside? Can he demonstrate to the American people that what happened on the debate stage was an aberration, that he can and will beat Donald Trump?
In his first sit-down after that disastrous debate performance, the president saying that so far, Democratic leaders have urged him to stay in the race.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'd get out of the race.
Biden insisting only divine intervention could force him out.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
But at the center of his campaign is the argument that Trump poses an existential threat to American democracy. Biden pressed on what happens if he fails to stop him.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
Now that answer upsetting some in the party who say this isn't about whether or not the president gives it his all, but whether he is making the right decision to run. And this week he will try to prove that he is up to the task. He will be standing on the world stage at the NATO summit here in Washington and then holding a rare solo press conference on Thursday.
George.
Okay, Mary, thanks. Focus now on Capitol Hill. Let's talk to our senior congressional correspondent, Rachel Scott. Rachel, let's start with that call yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries. This was the most senior Democrats in the House.
The top Democrats on House committees in the House, and several of them were expressing concern about the president's path forward. We have 4 of them, at least 4, who outright just called on the president to step aside on this call. George, this is striking. We are just months away from the election. Democrats believe that they actually have a chance of winning the majority in the House, and now they're focused on the president's path forward. This was not a rallying call where you had Democratic leadership encouraging everyone to fall in line, get behind the president. This was a call where you had senior members of the Democratic Party questioning whether President Biden can win in November.
Some ferment in the Senate as well. Senator Mark Warner of Virginia had started to organize a letter among Senate Democrats, but now his effort has been put off.
Yeah, and so what he was trying to do was sort of assemble this meeting to get Senate Democrats together to actually discuss President Biden's path forward and whether or not they would make a call together to call on the president to step aside. We know that several Democratic senators really want to meet with President Biden face to face, similar to what the governors did just last week. Well, it was leaked. We reported it as well as other outlets. And now Senator Warner started backing off of this effort. Still, George, I will say this. House Democrats, Senate Democrats will be meeting on Tuesday. They will be getting an earful from their members.
4 members matter than anyone else. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Jim Clyburn.
Absolutely. And all of them very measured so far. I was told on this call how House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries didn't outright call or support President Biden. He allowed his members to express their concerns. All of them right now are in listening mode, and they're taking what they're hearing from their members and going right back to the administration and with the president.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much. Robin?
All right, thank you both very much. And overseas now, Russia launched at least 40 missiles at Kyiv and other cities, with one of Ukraine's children's hospitals hit. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, is tracking this for us. And Ian, we know this comes as President Biden is set to host a NATO summit tomorrow. Good morning to you.
Yeah, that's right, Robin. Good morning to you too. Russia has launched a massive attack with a barrage of at least 40 missiles smashing into 5 major cities, including, as you say, the capital, Kyiv. The mayor there describing it as one of the worst attacks since the war began. One of the sites targeted was Ukraine's main children's hospital. We visited there many times. It gives critical care to kids with cancer, leukemia, disease, as well as, of course, war wounds. Rescuers are at the scene now, clawing through the rubble, searching for survivors. It's a desperate situation there. More than 24 killed across Ukraine this morning in an attack which, as you say, seems designed to send a message to President Biden and other NATO leaders who are going to be gathering in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Michael?
Yeah, it's not a message that we all want to see there. Ian, thank you so much for that. We're going to turn now to wildfire emergencies across the West, including a series of warnings and evacuation orders in California, where firefighters are struggling to contain the massive lake fire, which exploded to over 19,000 acres. Kana Whitworth is in Santa Barbara, California for us. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, Michael, good morning. So throughout the West, the fire behavior has been described as dangerous and erratic. Here on the lake fire at the beginning, the flames were moving so fast they were scorching 600 acres every single hour. Now, this fire has more than doubled in size and prompted new evacuations last night.
This morning, thousands of Americans out west racing to evacuate as fast-moving flames tear through dry vegetation toward homes and communities.
It's scary. I know a lot of people that live around the area. Hopefully everybody can stay safe and keep all the structures up.
Amid hot, dry conditions, several wildfires flaring up out west. In California alone, over 150 fires started over the holiday weekend. In Santa Barbara County, emergency crews battling the massive lake fire.
So look at how high those flames are. That's 100 feet in the air. And these flames are being pushed by that wind. You can see how high and how quickly they are growing.
So far, scorching at least 19,000 acres, threatening the infamous Neverland Ranch. And in El Dorado County, the Pay Fire burning near the Placerville Airport. Several firefighters throughout the state suffering from heat-related injuries as the West endures record-setting temperatures.
It's worse than an oven. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like an oven. It's like walking in the oven.
Or a hot hair dryer.
Or you open the oven after 350.
Yeah.
It's in the face.
Death Valley hitting 129 degrees. A park visitor dying from heat exposure.
Now, an excessive heat warning will remain in effect in this area at least throughout the day today. Firefighters do have some containment on this lake fire now, but they are ready for a challenging day ahead. Michael.
No doubt for that. Kana, thank you so much. We're going to turn now to breaking news overnight. Boeing pleading guilty to one criminal fraud charge in a controversial deal with the Department of Justice. Our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, has the details. Good morning, Pierre.
Michael, good morning. Overnight, Boeing agreeing to plead guilty to fraud in a settlement with the Justice Department involving two deadly crashes in 2018 and 2019. Under the deal, Boeing will pay $243 million and agree to court supervision for at least 3 years. In addition, an independent compliance monitor will oversee the company's production and safety protocols. DOJ in earlier investigations found the company was not building safe 737 MAX airliners and that the company had misled federal regulators looking into the crashes of Ethiopian Air Flight 302 and Lion Air Flight 610. Boeing has faced additional scrutiny after a door blew off in a flight earlier this year, causing an in-flight emergency and injuring passengers. This deal is controversial because family members of those who died in those crashes do not believe the penalties are near harsh enough, and they want company executives charged as well. DOJ officials say senior company officials could still face charges, Robin.
Let's wait and see what happens there, Pierre. Thank you so much for your reporting. Now to Wimbledon, where American Emma Navarro bested Coco Gauff in straight sets. Only 2 of the 10 highest-seeded women remain in contention. And Lara, you going to tell us the Americans that are still in the mix?
Yes, I sure will. And we were just talking about it. It was quite a show. The action has been non-stop across the pond. We're going to get right to it. We start with a big upset and big props to American Emma Navarro, who took down number 2 ranked Coco Gauff to advance to her first Wimbledon quarterfinals. Navarro's performance was called flawless as she attacked Gauff's forehand, taking the win in 2 sets, 6-4, 6-3. The former University of Virginia player was ranked 55 not long ago. Now she's ranked 19th, and that could change again very, very soon. The 23-year-old also beat 4-time major champ Naomi Osaka and only began her professional career in 2022. Later this morning, the only other remaining American woman, come on, Danielle Collins, she will also play for a chance at a spot in the quarterfinals. So that's what we have on the women's side.
Okay, how about for the bid?
They're kind of in the same position, Robin. All right, so Francis Tiafoe, he had that tough draw playing Carlos Alcaraz in the first, and despite an extremely well-fought 5-set battle, he did not best the defending Wimbledon champ. So now there are just 2 American men left as well. Tommy Paul punching his ticket to the quarterfinals, but now he too will have to try and defeat Alcaraz. And Taylor Fritz is still in the mix. He takes the court in just a few hours to play for a spot in the quarters against Zverev from Germany. You can catch all of the action from the round of 16 today on ESPN and ESPN2. It is getting hot in there.
Glued to the tube.
Yep, glued to the tube.
Been a great tournament.
Yep. So
I can see you 2 in it.
We'll go back.